Without sales, you don't have a business, you have a time-consuming and expensive hobby. I know that might be harsh or blunt, but in this video, I'm going to help you set up your sustainable sales system and your sustainable sales funnel so that you can get more sales. At the end of the day, if your business is not making money, that's not viable in the long run. I'm going to start by walking you through the sales funnel. You might have seen this before, but even if you have, I want you to bear with me because this is really important to make sure we're on the same page. The sales funnel is usually an upside down triangle. It represents how many people are in your sales funnel, aka how many people are left at the end that you can sell to. And it is normal for people to be filtering out because you and your business are not for everyone. You and your business are only going to be for your ideal customer. That's why it's an upside down triangle. The sales funnel also details your customer's journey with your business. The first step is traffic, which is essentially how they first find out about you. How do they discover you? How do they become aware of you and your brand? That's the first step. You always want to make sure you're getting enough traffic to your business so that you constantly have new people and new eyeballs finding out about you so that your funnel can continuously be populated because it's an upside down triangle. People get filtered out all the time. So it's in your best interest to ensure you're getting enough traffic. The next part of the sales funnel is the nurture or warm up period. It is not enough just for someone to know about you and be aware of you. They are likely not going to find out about you and buy right away. They need to be nurtured and warmed up. This part is crucial because it's not enough for someone just to know about you. You need to build trust and credibility with them. They also need to know and understand what products and services you're offering and how you can help them. At the end, you convert. As you can see, that's the journey a typical customer will have with you and your business. The time frame for that can vary because some people, it takes them a long time to think about something before they buy something. For other people, they could just buy something right away. So it really varies. At the end of the day, the key with all of this is understanding that sales is a journey and sales is a process. And when it comes to sales, I always like to give an analogy of a friendship. If you're developing a new friendship with someone, the first step is knowing them. You figure out their life story, their values, their passions, their hobbies, their job, all this stuff. From there, you decide, okay, is this person for me or are they not for me? It's the exact same thing with sales. Your ideal customer first has to find out about you, they have to get to know you, and then they will decide whether or not they want to work with you or if they want to buy from you. Understanding this will put you in the driver's seat with your sales and make it a lot more logical versus emotional. If you're currently feeling like your sales is not stable, you're not in control of it, you don't know where your next dollar is coming from, this will give you the structure to figure out which part of your sales funnel is quote unquote broken or needs some TLC so that you can fix your sales problem and have more stable and consistent monthly sales. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention with your sales funnel is that it is never going to be perfect and that is not the standard. When you fix one part of your sales funnel, it's inevitably going to break another. The goal is actually to continuously improve all parts of your sales funnel, identify which parts are the bottleneck, unbottleneck it, get some more sales, and then probably another part will be bottlenecked again. Let me give you an example. Let's say you currently have a traffic problem. There's not enough people coming to your business. There's not enough people that know about you. Once you fix that traffic problem, you likely will have a nurture problem because all of a sudden you have all these new people in your community, new eyeballs. They don't know who you are. And that's a massive amount of people you need to warm up and nurture. Once you fix the nurturing problem, you then maybe have a conversion problem where you have a bunch of people that are primed and ready to buy, but they don't know that you offer this product or the service, or maybe the whole experience just needs to be improved. At every single stage, you're going to be improving something. Something's going to be the bottleneck. I hope illustrating this brings to light that this is a journey your customer needs to be on. They need to touch and go through all of it. As such, we need to be intentional and strategic about setting this up so that you and your business are set up for success. I am now going to detail out how we can build out your sales funnel and make it sustainable for you. This is so important because when I first started my consulting agency, the main way I got new sales was either from Google SEO and or referrals. While those are both great, it also meant that I wasn't really in control of my leads. With Google SEO, I also can't control when someone's Googling sustainable fashion consultant and then pop into my lab. I was extremely grateful and fortunate to have those two big lead gens. But on the flip side, it was very inconsistent. And so I took it upon myself to build out my own sustainable sales funnel. Once I did that, I felt like I was back in the driver's seat with my sales. Let's talk about the first step of the sales funnel, which is traffic. Because this is the first step of your sales funnel, if you don't get this right, it's going to make the rest of your sales funnel difficult. It's crucial we tackle this first. When it comes to traffic strategies, I like to split it up into two categories. We have the free or organic options, and then we also have the paid options. If you have the budgets, you can do both, but I would start with the free and organic options first. Make sure you have a handle on that, you set that all up, and then you can amplify it more with paid. Otherwise, you're just spending money for the sake of it and you're lighting those advertising dollars on fire. Let's build out your funnel first, and then we can amplify it with paid. When it comes to building out your organic traffic strategies and tactics, there's an order I want you to follow, and I will explain why that is after. The first thing you want to do is set up your search engine optimization on your website. Make sure that it is SEO optimized. The reason why I put this first is because it takes anywhere from 6 months to a year for everything you're doing to populate into Google and other search engines. I just mentioned when someone used to search sustainable fashion consulting, my agency came up as the #1 search, and that brought me so many leads. But like I mentioned, this can take 6 months to a year to populate, so it's really important you do this work now so that you can reap the benefits ASAP. When it comes to figuring out what you should be optimizing, I want you to put yourself into the shoes of your ideal customer. Think about what they are searching, and the more niche, the better. As an example, if you are a wedding planner, I wouldn't attack the wedding planning keyword because there's so many wedding planners out there. If you are based in London, you could try to tackle the wedding planner London search term and make it more specific and niche to you. A tool you can leverage is called Answer the Public to figure out what you should be categorizing. But again, put yourself in the shoes of your ideal customer to help you figure that out. You can leverage my Notion workbook down below to help you with this SEO portion and figure out what that looks like. Once you've determined what search keywords you want your website to be able to rank for, the next step is making sure you integrate it into your site. You could do blog posts on the topic. I would also change all the image file names so that you can also rank for that. I would also make sure you're doing the headers and descriptions on Google. All that being said, Google SEO, making sure you're setting that up is the first thing you really want to do. The next thing you want to do is social media. Figuring out your social media platforms are going to be doing engaging content that's relevant and your ideal customer would care about. I will be talking more about marketing strategy and social media in subsequent lessons, but just know that after SEO, we're going to be working on your socials. Once you've nailed your socials, the next tool I want you to leverage is collaborations and partnerships. This is such a golden ticket when it comes to getting traffic for your business. If you can figure out other like-minded businesses, products, or services that your ideal customer also uses, but is not a direct competitor to you, I would collab and partner with them, and then you can just divert traffic to each other. It's such a great move. You could start by just shouting each other out on Instagram stories. You could then also do joint Instagram posts. If you both have podcasts, you could do a podcast swap. The world is limitless here when it comes to collaboration. But the key is to make sure your ideal customer is in their community. So you can do some sleuthing. You can go through who's following them on Instagram, click through some of their profiles, see if it matches your ideal customer persona. The other thing as well is I would look through their Instagram page, make sure that their brand is a brand you want to associate yourself with. As an example, I used to have a ton of sustainable fashion brand clients, and I would encourage them to partner with sustainable accessory brands, maybe jewelry brands or shoe brands, or just anything that wouldn't be a direct competitor. However, I would advise them that if those brands that they were considering partnering with were working with fast fashion influencers or working with fast fashion brands as well, then maybe it wouldn't be a good fit because it might reflect poorly on their brand. Only do collaborations and partnerships once you've figured out your social media, because again, we don't want to divert traffic when you're still figuring things out, because that's just going to add flames to the fire. We want to make sure everything's ready to go. After collabs and partnerships, you can pitch yourself for press as well as podcast interviews to get more traffic. When it comes to press, I would get earned media where you're helping reporters out, giving them quotes, giving them insights. I was able to get onto CBC, Globe and Mail, Fortune through earned media. The way I was able to do that was to be available whenever reporters asked me for a quote or for my insights. That's how you go about it. You need to add value to get into those press publications. When it comes to podcast interviews, this is also something that can be great. I would put together a one-pager where you can talk about what you're an expert in, what you're credible in, what you can bring to press publications and our podcast interviews, and then pitch it from that angle of how you can give value. As you may know, I have a podcast called Confessions of a Conscious CEO, and I get pitched daily for people to come on my podcast. And I have seen some really bad pitches to some really good pitches. Some key tips for you are, first and foremost, do your research about the podcast. Don't spell the host's name wrong. The amount of times I've gotten emails where people butcher my name, I'm like, you really think I'm going to allow you on my podcast when you can't even figure out who's the host? That's not good. Make sure you know who the host is, spell their name correctly. Figure out how you can add value to their audience. A lot of people will just say, oh, I love your podcast. I would love to come on. Here's what I can talk about. And it's not even anything I usually talk about. It's a big disconnect. The other thing too is making sure that you are showing that you're a genuine fan or listener of the podcast. I can tell you it goes so far when people can reference specific episodes they listen to or action items they've taken from the podcast. Try to stand out, and it's not that hard. I have to say, like, everyone just seems to be copying, pasting ChatGPT type of responses. To stand out, just add some personality to it and come at it from an angle of how you can add value to their audience. Those are the organic ways you can drive more traffic to your business. From a paid perspective, you can do paid ads on Meta, on Google, on LinkedIn, whatever. You can also work with content creators and influencers. The key with the content creators and influencers, though, is very similarly to the collaborations and partnerships. You want to make sure your ideal customer is in their audience. You can, again, do some sleuthing, check out who's following them, and see if it's aligned with your ideal customer. That is how you get enough traffic. The goal isn't for you to do all of it. I want you to do it in the order I just listed. So do all the organic items first, the SEO, because again, that takes time, mastering your social media, and then doing collaborations and partnerships, starting to pitch yourself for press and podcasts. From there, once the organic strategies are down pat, you can then move to paid. That's the first part of the sales funnel, the traffic portion. Next, we have nurturing. So the golden question, how do we nurture and warm people up? This is something that I'm finding takes longer and longer. And it's not a bad thing, just something to keep in mind. The reason why it's taking longer, it's just because there's more businesses out there, there's more options. I also find more shady entrepreneurs and shady businesses out there. So people have experiences being burned or choosing the wrong people. That's why it takes more time to build that credibility, that trust, and that expertise. Again, think of this like you're forming a friendship with your community and you're forming a friendship with your customer. It just takes time to build that relationship. With that being said, how do you nurture? There's 3 main ways you can do that. The first way is to give value. If you're a service provider, if you're a consultant or an advisor like I am, you just give value. You give away a lot of knowledge. You give away a lot of resources. My GTM Essentials course is something that I could charge for, but I'm giving it away because I'm nurturing and warming up my audience. The second thing you can do to nurture is to have social proof. Have reviews, have testimonials, have case studies to show that other people have bought and tried your product or service and they've loved it and they've gotten results from it. That can also obviously build credibility and trust. Thirdly, show the behind the scenes. People love that, and it's becoming table stakes now, especially if you have a D2C brand, for the founder to be front-facing and showing the development of the product, showing all the challenges and the behind the scenes of it. I also find that when you bring your community along for the ride, they get so invested in you and your business, and ultimately you and your business's success. When you do launch something or when you do have something for sale, they want to buy it because A, they're excited about it, but B, because they want to support you and they feel like they've been helping you build this from day one. Nurturing is so important. And again, it just takes longer and longer. So I would continuously nurture all the time through all your social media platforms. Just constantly be thinking about how can you add value? How can you provide social proof? And how can you show the behind the scenes? Finally, how do you convert? You convert by inviting people to buy your product or work with you. And so you need as many touch points as possible, and you need to make it as easy as possible. Having landing pages, having those links everywhere, making sure that everything's working, nothing's broken. If your product needs more hand-holding, and if people need to talk to you, if you're selling consulting services or something like that, or if you're a therapist and you're trying to get new customers, have some sort of sales call or discovery call that can really help. On the flip side, if you're selling D2C products, it really can help if you can show up at an event or at a fair so that people can touch your product, try it on, see it, smell it, taste it, whatever it is. Have multiple touch points and make it easy for people to say yes and work with you. Throughout all of this, track how much traffic you're getting, track your conversions. If you're finding that your traffic is about the same, but your conversion's going down, then you likely need to nurture more or something's going wrong on your conversion. Track all that data so that you can assess where the bottleneck is, and then you can go in and fix it. This is so important, and you can leverage the link down below to download the Notion workbook to help you build out your sustainable sales funnel. Super proud of you for building out your sustainable sales funnel. Once you're ready, I'll see you in the next video.